Hey everyone, this is Alex Milstein. I'm the editor-in-chief of Betting News Now, and this is Bet Ed Now, bite-sized bits of betting industry knowledge. Today my guest is Derek Leishman. He is the National Sales Director at Mlily USA, and we're going to be talking about merchandising. Welcome to the show, Derek.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I'd love to get into some of the essentials of merchandising. I think merchandising has changed a lot just in the past, 5 years. Maybe we could start talking about that, and then we'll go into some advice about merchandising for retailers.
Yeah, absolutely. So, first and foremost, I think merchandising is a critical element in the sales process and in the buying process. I think it always has been, but it's so much more important today than it ever has been. I think there's been a major change in the way retailers are merchandising since, say, 10 years ago. I think if you went into a retail store 10 years ago, as an end consumer, you'd walk into a showroom that has banners and signage and product all over the showroom floor, and it would feel overcrowded. Fast forward to 2025, those retailers who, in my opinion, are doing a good job of merchandising, they have created a showroom that's clean and it's organized. And I think they've really leaned into the phrase less is more when it comes to merchandising. And they ensure that regardless of what's on their floor, whether it's a rack, a banner, product, that there's a purpose behind every single item that's on their showroom floor. And the overarching purpose of every one of those items is to help convert guests into customers. And so I think that's the biggest change if we look at the past 10 years, is I think retailers are really focusing on ensuring that their showrooms are cleaned, that they're organized, and there's a purpose behind every item that they have on their floor.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like for a retailer doing business every day, you come into the store every day, sometimes you don't take the time to reevaluate, your merchandising. So how can a retailer know when it's time to mix things up a little bit?
Great question. So I think there's a few key things you can look for. First off, if you haven't updated your showroom or changed your showroom in the last, say, year, it's probably
Mhm.
time that you make some adjustments, whether that's rearranging your beds, rearranging your displays, getting new signage, whatever it is. I think retailers should evaluate their showrooms at least once a year. I think retailers should also take note of their overall sales performance. If retailers are seeing good traffic, but yet their sales are plateauing or declining, there's probably a problem with their merchandising strategy. It could be their sales process or a combination of both. So I think analyzing your showroom at least once a month or once a year, and then just ensuring that if you're seeing good traffic, but you're not seeing an increase in sales, there's probably something to do with your showroom. Maybe there's more training that needs to be done on the RSA level. And then another thing, if you start hearing similar questions and very basic questions coming from customers, in reality should be answered easily from a banner or a display, then it's probably time to consider updating your merchandising strategy. If customers are coming to you with the same basic question, time and time again.
That's a really good point because if your merchandising doesn't have a message to it,
Yep.
then what's the point?
Yep.
I like that point a lot. What are some things that you find essential when it comes to merchandising today, based on your experience in the field?
Kind of going back to what I said before, less is more. And when I travel to different retailers across the country and when I step into showrooms, I can really tell whether that retailer has put emphasis on merchandising or not. Again, it's
Yeah.
that clean, it's that organized look. Does it have a flow to it? Does it make sense as an end consumer who doesn't know anything about mattresses or anything about bedding accessories? Can I
Hmm.
kind of understand what I'm walking into as an end consumer? I think another essential that I'm starting to see more and more of is retailers using digital assets in their showrooms, specifically TV monitors. A couple months ago, I walked into a retailer that had a TV monitor right next to every single one of their mattresses. And they had a video on that TV that was explaining the features and the benefits and really telling the story behind the mattress. And I thought that was such a cool idea and such a
Yeah.
simple idea that I think more retailers need to adopt because that's what consumers want. Sometimes consumers don't necessarily want to talk to an RSA, but they'll sit and they'll listen to a video for 30 minutes to understand the benefits and features of a particular mattress or an adjustable base. So I think merchandising is essential for 2025 and moving forward is looking for more digital assets that you can add to your showroom, whether that's TV monitors, whether that's QR codes that take the consumer to, say, a demo video to help them understand the product a little bit more. I think those things are going to help retailers set themselves apart in helping take guests and convert them into customers.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people get bogged down in the details sometimes. You don't have to reinvent the wheel necessarily when you're merchandising, like you said with the TVs. It's a very simple but efficient tactic to have those right next to each mattress. And so, that just makes me think that sometimes retailers overthink what they need to do, and sometimes it can just be a very simple change. So, what are some of the biggest challenges that you see retailers facing when it comes to merchandising these days?
Again, I'm going to continue to hit this like a dead horse, is I think some retailers think that they need to put everything out on the showroom floor. They need to have all the displays, all the signage. They need to put all the product on their showroom floor to capitalize on every opportunity when a customer comes in. And I don't think that's the case. Again, it comes down to less is more, making an evaluated decision on every single item that's in your showroom, whether it's a display, whether it's a product, whether it's a POP item, and really asking yourself, does this item add value to the sales process? Does this item help tell the story of said product? And again, overarching goal is that every product that's on your showroom floor, whether it's a product, a display, a sign, is helping convert guests into customers. And so I think, again, it sounds simple, but I think in practice, it's a little bit harder to do. But having that critical conversation with your team and making decisions, hey, does this really help us? Or is this just wasted space? Or is this just a wasted item that makes our showroom feel cluttered or feel overcrowded? I think having those discussions, again, at least on an annual basis, is going to help
Mhm.
retailers improve their merchandising overall.
Yeah, I agree. That's super solid advice. Well, yeah, that was kind of, what I had for today, but I do appreciate you taking the time, Derek.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Alex. Appreciate the time as well.